So at Red Hat Summit this year, there was a strong focus on OpenShift and virtualization. So let's talk a bit about the challenges, opportunities, and the impact that this might have on financial services organizations. So, what do you think the challenges are around virtualization, and how can they be addressed within financial services?
If you don't mind, I'll take this one.
Yeah, sure.
A lot of interest, a lot of conversations at Summit and before Summit, and I suspect after as well, about virtualization. I think companies are looking at kind of accelerating their choice, different ways to do different things based on changes happening in the marketplace. What I find most interesting is the idea that, we talked before about a platform for containers and a platform for, images or virtualization. But with OpenShift, you can do both. So by doing that, it's really interesting for CIOs because they can do this. They can do everything on the same place, same platform. Therefore, you've got one DevOps team. You've got a place where you're going. So, as they say, you're skating to where the puck is going. People want to be containerized because it gives them better velocity. It gives them, more density in their servers. It's more cost efficient. So what I see is a lot of customers are accelerating their journey towards something like OpenShift virtualization because it's where they want to be, and actually takes care of a number of challenges for them.
Anyone else want to comment on that, or we can move to?
I think Eric did a great job. He nailed it.
Yep, Eric nailed it.
Well, let's look at the, let's say, innovative and competitive advantage that this might drive within financial services. Can anyone comment on that aspect?
From my point of view, I in my past life, one of the things is talking a bit about, as you go through this innovation, going back to what Eric said, is that you have all the components within OpenShift, which then allows you to basically work closer with the customer, better customer experience, better customer output, right? So I was on a call with one of our CTOs a week or so ago, and he talked about this, and it reduces the point-to-point development as you go forward, right? It automates a lot more, and it changes the checkpoints. It changes the processes that you have in place by having everything on OpenShift. So therefore, it changes how you deal not only with your development staff, but also externally with more and more of your customers. So it's a game changer as we go forward, right? And the technologists I was working with, I didn't realize the pace of development that we have in this, that it really it modifies how we have certain behaviors in these institutions. Going back to what Monica said, we have to relearn how we do things with these new tools, because it's so transformable that you got to think out of the box as you invest in more of this space. Yeah.
I would ask a question of Monica. I mean, you've been in banks, you're pretty much your whole career. A lot of complexity in a bank, right? One of everything. Some CIOs or CTOs say banks already have. If you can simplify what you're doing, instead of two platforms to do something, or instead of a platform for on-prem and a platform for cloud provider A and a cloud provider B, if you had a single platform, what do you think it would do inside an organization in terms of velocity, quality, cost efficiency?
And controls.
Exactly. I mean, risk and controls right there is the answer. I think it's that lowest common denominator thing, isn't it? And about having a single pane of glass, not only to manage your estate or states, but let's go with estate because one would always rather have one estate rather than many. But also, the more complexity you have, the more holes you have and places you have for attack vectors, right? So we're not going to talk about cybersecurity here, but the more complex things are, the harder they are to observe. The harder they are to observe, the harder they are to protect. And your exactly, your attack surface is actually increased or increases. So I think all of these things kind of come together, right? Simplicity obviously helps you with cost effectiveness. It helps you with operational efficiencies, but also it helps you. Why would you waste time doing something that you don't need to do by having multiple things? And I think that's where we have to ask ourselves questions as technologists, because we I guess there's lots of toys on the market, right? And when do you have too many toys? You guys have kids. When is there too many toys in the house? When we were kids, we all probably just played in a cardboard box or laundry basket. Now kids have thousands of different types of toys. Different, it wasn't that bad. Still,
Right.
you
Awesome.
get my analogy.
Great analogy.
For sure. Okay, so let's say we get this all in place and we're now in a state ready for anything new. So how does this impact the future of financial institutions down the road? Does it even set them up for AI in some instance?
I think it's all about, you want to bring more dollars or pounds or euros, whatever, to the bottom line. And that means being as efficient as possible. That means you want to drive your transactional costs to zero, or at least your marginal transactional cost to zero. That means simplifying, scaling things appropriately. And if you've got 3 teams doing something when you can have 1 team to do it, doesn't make sense.
And then also, Eric, it's not only IT, it's the ops people.
Oh, it's the whole business.
It's the whole business.
But what happens, because the infrastructure has been built X, you have people surrounded by that environment. So basically, you don't need 5 compliance departments or 10 operational areas. You can reduce that because of the technology. So it's not tech, but it's also the business side. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. If you streamline the technology, you streamline the people and the processes associated with it, which
absolutely
includes all of the control functions and the like.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Well, let's leave it there. Thank you all for joining on this one. Fantastic. Well, let's leave it right there. I want to thank our experts for sharing their ideas and their insights. And thank you all for joining us today.